still day 2 at NAB, and one of the products that I have been dying to see, it's been in renders for a little while, is a little product by an Australian company called the Birddog. And if you haven't seen it, it looks something like this online, and that's all right, you carry on. And basically what it does is it takes the camera signal SDI or HDMI and converts it through for use with Nutek's and plenty of other people's now NDI workflow. The advantage of this is many things. Well, the cable costs alone and the cable runs, particularly if you've got an HDMI camera. Now, seeing this thing in the flesh that's quite exciting now, and it sounds like it's ready to ship. Certainly there's some in action. So we're going over to meet them and find out about it.
So this is Birddog Studio NDI. The idea behind this box is to take a regular video signal, which everyone's used to with their cameras, whether that's SDI or HDMI, and send it out over your network. And the advantage of doing that is fairly obvious. Every building's got a whole lot more network plugs than it has SDI plugs in the wall. The language that we're talking, or the protocol we use, is NDI, and that's developed by Nutek. And the reason why we chose that is it carries a whole lot of extra information, and it's really handy. The extra information is around tally, so we've got tally built into the device. So as soon as you bring this up as a source on any switcher or any destination, if you go to program or preview, it's going to light up on the front and tell your talent which cameras are going live and everything. But the real best bit about it, I suppose, is from an infrastructure point of view. Because NDI runs on gigabit Ethernet, there's no need to run new cables and things. If you're running a lot of other IP standards, there's been a few sort of touted around, they still require 10 gig Ethernet, which is a rewire of your building. If you're doing that, you're kind of in the same boat as using SDI, you're putting new cables down and all things like that. Where with this, using gigabit Ethernet, pretty much every building in every place in the world's got gigabit Ethernet already there. And we also use power over Ethernet as well. So you're able to just plug this in, no wall warts, nothing else, just plug the Ethernet in, plug your camera in, and away you go. So it takes your video signal up to 1080 60p and converts it into NDI in less than 1 frame, so it's extremely fast, and that's 1 frame end to end. So when you receive it at the other end, it's less than a frame. The picture quality is excellent, and that's another reason why we chose NDI as a standard to work with in Birddog, is the resolution and image quality you get really stacks up. It requires such a small device to kind of give you all of that. On top of that, we also have, I mentioned the tally at the front. On the connectors at the back, there's also an external tally light as well. So you can have it kind of facing both ways. So if I'm the talent, I can see the tally light at the front, but then the camera guy can also see the tally out the back, so they know whether they're allowed to move their camera or whether it's locked off. Last thing I'll talk about really is the connectors. There's 2 SDIs and 2 HDMIs. So at the moment we're taking in, say for example, 1 SDI, but we're also throwing in a mini converter, so it'll come out HDMI as a loop. So if you've got a little monitor that you want to work with, you can come in SDI and out HDMI and things like that. We'll also be producing some firmware soon after we ship, so a few months after. I'm not giving exact shipping dates at this stage, that allows decode of NDI as well. So this will then be a destination. And our idea really is to have, with Birddog, as close as you can to the camera and as close as you can to the destination being in IP. So we want this to be mounted on the camera, and then ultimately it to be at the other end where you're going to a screen or broadcasting. Because that way you get all the flexibility of going through network switches and things the whole way through your production.